West Belfast, home to almost 100,000 people and one of the most socially and economically deprived constituencies in Europe. As Northern Ireland now enters a period of transitional peace, a growing community of victims and survivors, including a generation affected by transgenerational trauma, suffer from social and economic exclusion resulting from over 30 years of violence. There is now general acknowledgement that adequate government support was seldom in place to tackle issues of conflict-related trauma across a broad spectrum of victims and survivors. In the absence of such support, local community workers have endeavoured to address this phenomenon.
My name's Dean McComb. I'm from the Ballymurphy area of West Belfast. I've always used boxing to deal with some of the stuff that I've been through. I've lost 3 brothers and my fiancée to suicide, and also my sister was killed by death drivers. I think being surrounded by good people and being focused in life does help with dealing with trauma and loss of loved ones.
My job and my role as a community access worker working for Belfast Trust's Physical and Sensory Disability team. And part of that role then would be taking referrals for individuals that work in a day or that are in a daycare setting. Vinty, and that's how I came to know Vinty and Ernie then, from working in Beach Hall Day Centre. And basically my work then as a community access worker is to encourage social inclusion and participation and reintegrate people back into their community, so that they have that sense of belonging. And part of my work that I would do would be very person-centred, and we would look at maybe a person-centred plan. And some of the goals are around that, are identifying what people like and admire about me.
I was doing a wee homework for a friend. I got the phone call to say that he ended up in hospital. He took an overdose. Didn't think anything bad of it or anything like that there. Thought, but didn't know it was that bad until the hospital phoned. It says, no, you need to get the family to come down here right away because he's severe, he might make it. His breathing was going down and stuff, and he was in intensive care for about 6 months.
I ain't getting nowhere near. Told you? It didn't work, did it work? Do it again. It didn't work. On the 13th of November, I lost my best mate to suicide, and she had mental health problems, and the mental health team didn't help her at all. I was on the phone to her that morning, and she was asking me where I was and when I was coming up, and I had finished work at 10 o'clock, and I was on my way up to her, and I'd met my other friend, and went to her house. And I went to shopping with Brian, but normally Leah would just be in bed, and just go in and call her and she'd come down. And we had walked in and I called her and there was no answer, and I walked around the other side of the kitchen table and my other friend seen the note, and she was like, there's a note. And then I ran upstairs and there she was, just hanging.
Active Communities Network is a charity. It's a sport for development charity that uses sport to engage with young people in areas of a high deprivation. It began 10 years ago in 1987 in London. It was called London Active Communities, and then it developed out from there. And it's now has offices in London, Manchester, Portsmouth, us here, and there's an office in Cape Town.
We were in a party down beside Deci, down that way anyway. And Gavin was with us, so he was, and then Gavin got a taxi up to the house for, I don't know, and then there was a couple of people going different places, and then it was me and Goodman was left in the house, so we were, and then Gavin phoned me and goes, "Are you still down there?" And he says, "Aye," and he says, "Who are you with?" Me, Goodman, and then I give a phone to Goodman, and then Goodman says, "Right, we need to go and get him or something, he's at the graveyard." So we end up getting a taxi and coming up. So we did, and we walked about everywhere looking at him that night. And we come walking down there, and then we found him there. So we did.
I think my birth certificate.
I know some people are sensitive about their age, but I'm not.
Because I'm 25.
Because I'm only 21.
I know, well. Hello. And this one here, it says about his hobbies. You know, great food. People were jealous of him because he was so good. You know, he says it. Everybody hated me, you know, because he was good at art, motor racing, and he liked Kojak, and he talks about the art teachers and stuff. But funny enough, back then, there was in Spring Hill, there was a famous person, he wasn't famous at the time, called Mother Teresa. She had a workshop every Saturday morning. Me and Fenty used to go to it, and he had made a leather purse out of leather, and because they were from Calcutta, and so that was an experience. So, and you actually worked with Mother Teresa, didn't you? You did? So you were in the thick of it. So I done the painting stuff, we done all the painting. We made some leather stuff, but Fenty used to make stuff all the time. He was very good with his hands.
Give it a bit more depth.
So where are you going next, Vincent?
I was contacted by Margaret Mulgrave from Beach Hall and asked to come and meet with her and two men who were there who had suffered trauma, and she had been doing some work with them around what had happened to them and how it had impact on their lives. And coming from their engagement with her, they felt that what they wanted to do was try to influence young people, and try to influence young people in a positive way by using the negatives that had happened to them.
If a young person was to come and talk to you,
Don't take drugs, please.
and why not?
Look at me, Max.
Look at you.
Hey, Max.
And what difficulties have you faced then?
No loads.
Loads. Difficult to get out of the house, you know.
Hey,
I mean,
Max.
if just look at the practical aspects of things. Forget about the whole emotional end of things. If you look at the practical aspect of things, it's not so easy for you just to get out of the house and go to a group or go to a venue or go to whatever. There's a lot of planning involved, you know. So it's kind of raising that awareness for young people as well. You know that this could be a result of misadventure, and please don't do it. You know, and sometimes it's about them respecting you as well too. You know, and earning their respect as well, rather than someone just standing up there and preaching to them and saying, "You know what? See all these drugs and all these are doing, it's no good, it's going to do this, it's going to do that." But if it comes from someone that's lived it, you know, been there, seen it, done it, and wore the t-shirt, sometimes it can have a more powerful message.
I remember the incident with Fenty, and there was a young lad who was older than me at the time who died in that accident. I know people who died from taking drugs, and what's really concerning is that the young people that we work with right across the city, it's hard to find a young person now who doesn't know someone who has taken their own life. It's hard to find a young person who hasn't been affected by the trauma of suicide in some way, shape or form. If we as a society continue to brush it under the carpet, in effect, and not try to address it, where does that leave us in 5 years? You know, we can see that car crimes becoming more prevalent. We can see that there's an influx of drugs in the communities, and all of that with still the legacy of the conflict not being addressed.